Welcome to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we're going to prune the red and black currants, and we're going to look at the different pruning required for red currants and black currants. And we're going to get on with Project Rescue Blueberries. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good afternoon. It's Sunday and it is a stunning day here in Canterbury, and I decided that I'll get out and start on the currants. I may not get them finished today, but because it's already probably about 1:45, but I had a few things that I had to do along here first, so yeah, it is what it is. Now, last year I did my currants in July, but when I looked at them recently, they're budding away 19 to the dozen at the moment, so I thought I'd get them done a bit earlier this year, because in the overall perspective, it actually has been a really mild winter here in Canterbury, especially coastal Canterbury, and I just wanted to get ahead of myself with making sure I had these sorted, and I'll be doing the gooseberries in the very, very near future too. Now, I have 5 currant plants, a mixture of red and black currants. I think it's 3 black currants to 2 red currants. Last year I knew what 3 of them were when I pruned them, but I was a bit dubious on 2 of them, because I think 2 I had bought, the rest were gifted, and I wasn't really up to what 2 of those gifted ones were. But over summer I did pop some labels in, so I now have that, the labels tucked in down the side with the print side tucked right in so it doesn't fade, and I can lift them up and have a look, so I'm all set. Now, why is it important to know which is red and which is black? Because red currant and black currants are pruned slightly differently. Red currants, white currants and pink currants are all pruned exactly the same. It's the black currants that are different. So you do need to know which is which. So I'm sitting next to my commercially bought black currant, as opposed to the gifted one that I have further down, and it did really well, as did all my currant bushes actually, over summer. I had a really good crop of black currants and a reasonable crop of red currants, so I was really pleased about that. So I'm going to give them a prune today. Well, I'm going to start with the black currant, and we'll have a look at what you need to do for a black currant first, and then we'll go on to the red/pink white currants after. Hopefully there's not too much sunstrike on the camera. At this time of year the sun's so low and what have you, so I've sort of tried to leave it till later in the afternoon where I've got a wee bit of shade from the fence here, so that the camera can pick things up better, but we'll see how we go. So what do you prune with black currants? Right, so black currants fruit on second year wood only, so that's wood that has grown during last season. Okay, so what we were looking to be doing is removing old wood, so past second year. Now, you won't get rid of all your old wood, because some of your old wood's actually got your second year wood sitting on it, so you've got to be a bit selective about what you take and what you don't take, as far as, you know, if you've got some lovely second year wood here, which that looks like it, but it's sitting on older wood, so I certainly won't be taking that out, because that's lovely wood there that's going to give me fruit this coming year. But if I can see any here, no, there's not really a lot of old wood here at the moment, because I did prune it reasonably hard last year. Might be some there, so I'll have a good look at that in a minute. One of the other things you want to look to do is actually clear the crown area, and I'll bring your camera down in a minute and show you, because you need to be able to get buds for new wood to grow this season, so that it's then available the following season to fruit on. The other thing that you're looking to do is remove dead, dying or diseased wood. So that's important to remove. There's not a lot here. There's probably a few things I need to remove. But the other thing that you need to remove, and this is purely by choice for you, is wood that's growing in a direction that is going to close the bush up. Or say if I had this on a path and there was a big branch sticking out like this, I'd probably want to remove it because it would be annoying me all the time as I try to get past. So these are quite neatly tucked in, but in a few weeks when we do the gooseberries, I've definitely got some that I've got to remove because they are sticking out into the path. So I'll bring the camera down now and we'll have a closer look at what's what. Okay, so we're at a bit of an odd angle. I apologise for that, but to get close enough, I'm using a tripod that doesn't have a levelling thing. So what we've got here is the crown, and it's looking really healthy. It's just got a few dead leaves sticking around, but it has got some dead wood. So what I was saying about removing the dead wood, it's always good to remove that first because it sort of opens up your plant for you. So there's a wee bit there. So, now before I forget, make sure you've cleaned your clippers and sharpened them so that they're nice and sharp. I did that before lunch, so they're all ready to go. So just close to the main stem, you just go in and you clip her off, just like that. And there's another bit just there, if I can not be too much of an awkward Annie and get into it, so just there. And do it left-handed. And there's another one over here. Now the bottom part of it's fine, but the top part is dead looking, so we'll just take that off. And just angle it so that the water runs off the cut. There we go, still a wee bit dead there, but okay. Now, how do you know which is your older wood compared to your newer wood? Okay, so your older wood is basically your darker wood here. Sorry, I've got a bit of sorrel still there, I just pruned it up. So this is here, this stuff here is your older wood. Now, in theory, you should be taking that out, but what you can't see because of the camera angle is that actually there's new wood coming out of this old wood. So I won't be taking all of it out, though I actually might take this one out. I'll think about it, mainly because it's crowding the crown. Sometimes you've just got to sacrifice the some of the stuff just to make room so that the plant can actually, for a better word, breathe, because you don't want it really crowded inside because that's when diseases can start. Now, one of the other places that you may look at is you can just see here, I think, there's two branches crossing over. Now, that's not ideal. So one of them is going to have to go, and I'll have to make a choice in a few minutes about which one that is. And other than that, there's no more dead stuff, no more diseased or dying, so that's good. So it's really just about opening up the crowns for new shoots in this plant, and just anything that's in an odd direction that's going to grow that way or across each other needs to come out. So I'm going to get on with that, and we'll listen to a bit of music while I'm doing it. Right, that's a couple of blackcurrant bushes done. You may have seen me sort of eyeing up, standing back, depending on how the camera was, sort of looking to see what the bush looks like. Is it a good shape, or was there a bit sticking out and going the odd way? Now, there was one at the back of, I think, the second bush I did, that was heading towards the fence and up through the netting that I have for my grapes back there. So I took that off, and it was a reasonably sized one. And I also took out an innard one because things were getting quite crowded, and that was the oldest wood compared to the bits next to it. So I took that out. Even though it had some newer wood at the top, it was predominantly old. Now, something I'll do at the end of this section, I'll pop up a chart for what to take out of what. So like what you take out of a black currant versus what you take out of a red currant, and, well, when I say red currant, red, white or pink currants. So yeah, I'll do that, and that'll just be there. And I'll probably also put it in my Facebook page so that you can also download it. And my Facebook page is the same name, the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Now, what we're going to do next is the red currant. So this one here, I'm pretty sure is a gifted one. I don't think it's a bought one, because I usually leave the label on my fruit, and that's got no label, whereas the black currant that was bought has still got its label on. I'm pretty sure this is a gifted one. So, and I know it's a red currant because when summer came along, I labelled it, so I knew. Right, so let's have a look at what we've got to do for this one. So what is the big difference between a black and a red currant? Right, so the black currant only fruits on second year wood, whereas a red currant fruits on second, third and fourth year wood. So you're not wanting to take out any of that really what might look old, but you want the really old stuff, which is kind of difficult on a currant plant to know unless it's sort of looking really gnarly. Now, this bush, I don't think I did that much to it last year because I wasn't sure what was new stuff. Pretty sure that this is the new stuff which will fruit off this year, and some of this old stuff, but it's got really crowded in there, so I'm going to have to give a good, just thinning, if anything else. Now, the other thing that you're meant to do with a red currant / pink white is your new cane, you're meant to cut down by half in size. So this looks like to have been a mixture of a cane here, and it's new from there up to there. So in theory, from there to there, I need to take it out about there. So removing half of the new cane. So I do that as well. But it was always good to, as I said earlier, to start with the dead, dying and diseased, and then the wrong pointing stuff, and then move on to removing your aged wood if you can identify it. What was the other thing I was thinking I needed to tell you? It'll come to me. Right, I sat here for a moment and thought about it. I know what I was going to tell you. Basically, with all pruning, whether it be currant bushes, roses, trees, anything, it is always good, if you can, to cut at a 45-degree angle. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't. The reason being is it just helps any water to run off rather than in to what you've just cut. That's all. So it's not sort of like hugely bigly if you can't, because you can't get around to do it. But yeah. Right, so I'm going to sit here in a minute and I'm going to look at this and try and assess what needs to go first, because I can see dead stuff here, and I can see some significantly crossed over stuff. There's no disease that I can see. The bush was really healthy over summer. There is some stuff that I need to take out just over on that side next to black currant, only because the black currant and the red currant are becoming one, and I just need to sort of give it a wee bit of air space. But yeah, And once I do finish sitting here and contemplating what I'm going to cut, we'll do a bit of speedy, well, as fast as I go anyway, and a bit of music while I'm quietly pruning at it. So that's that done. Got a fairly significant clean out. There's one or two more I could potentially do, like crossovers, but I'll leave it for now. That's the one thing about pruning, you know, if you don't take something out this year, it can always come out next year. I do prune fairly hard generally, so you know, someone else might not have hacked away quite as much as I did. But yeah, I cleaned out the centre a bit so that new shoots can come from there. So not just new shoots on old wood, that I get new shoots right at the base. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Just sort of cut it off a bit here where it's running into the black currant, and I'd already taken a bit of the black currant off so that where it was running. So yeah, so I've got, what have I got left? Two. I should have one red currant and one black currant. There's a small black currant just there, which came from a cutting, I'm pretty sure. So I'll give that a really quick tidy up. It doesn't need a lot. And I'll have a look at what the other one's like. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now, for today's recording. But yeah, pretty happy with that, and hopefully I'll get a good harvest off them this year. I will be putting out bird netting at some stage, and it'll have to be a lot earlier than I did it last year, because by the time I thought about it last summer, it was actually too hard to actually get the netting up. Now I have bought a really big long net that will go right along the top, and my idea is that it will just get nailed up on the top and then just tie it up like you would a sail, and then when I need it, just unfurl the thing down and put some weights on it and probably some bamboo rods just to hold it down. But you do need to, like for me, I'll need to leave it open at both ends just so that A, the cats can get past it, but B, if there is any birdies who do get in there, I don't have a lot of problems with the birdies because they tend to sit up on the top, and by the time these bushes are in full fruit, yeah, they just, unless they sort of come up and under, they don't really bother about it too much. So yeah. Right, okay, so I will catch up with you in the next few days once I get all the bits and pieces for the blueberries. But I've got to go into town and get all those bits and pieces, so we'll see you then. Good afternoon. It's Friday and it's just after lunch. It's about as warm as it's going to get. There's an easterly going and I'm up on the deck, so hopefully I'm a wee bit sheltered. apparently there was a bit of a frost inland this morning. It wasn't too bad here. So yeah, I'm going to try and get onto the blueberries today. I didn't get into town till Tuesday to pick up everything, and I had to wait for the pots as well, because my first load of pots that arrived last week were the wrong size. Even though I ordered the 50s, I got 30s. So anyway, that got sorted and it was no biggie, it was just time. But I've got everything now, and I've also done a bit more research. And I'll tell you what, confusing. I mean, the one thing that they all agree on is that it has to be acidic soil. How you make that up is debatable to who you listen to and what you watch, etc., etc. Interestingly, they all agree with a couple of things, though, that pine needles, while great, the acidicness from them doesn't last long. A couple of washes and it's gone, basically. Same with if you're using coffee grounds, very much similar. So I have, after reading all the research and putting it together and coming up with an average, I'm going with a simple mix of 3 parts of things. So 1/3 pine bark mulch, 1/3 a more soiled and compost mix, so that my base mix isn't like my super grow. And what was the other third? Oh, silly me, peat moss. So so a third, and that felt a bit better, because the other ones that I was looking at was really heavy on the pine, the bark mulch, and if you could get pine bark, better, but they were talking up to 70%, and they just didn't quite fit with the way, it just didn't feel right. Now they also, and the one that had the 60 or 70% pine bark, they talked about putting pumice in for drainage. Now I did actually buy a bag of it, but I don't think I'll actually add it. I can use it for heaps of other things, it's not going to go to waste. So I have got my pot, I have got my stuff. I have one little glitch though, and we'll have a look at that now. So I don't really have anywhere in the back garden that a big pot like this can easily sit and get loads of sun. I've got the side alley, which gets a lot of sun, but blueberries apparently need more than that. And I did have them down there and they didn't do that well, hence why I moved them where they are now. So I've got my big pot, but the family have put their foot down with a firm hand, and albeit they actually have a point that they're not moving a 50-litre pot around every time I want it moved, which, I can't blame them because it is heavy. But I do want to be able to move the pots around the deck, which is where I'm going to have them. The only reason being is that while they'll probably be sitting in the sun most of the time, there are times, especially like in a really, really hot summer, that I'll need to be able to move them to an area that gets afternoon shade. And I have that here on the deck, I can move them, but people aren't going to drag the pots for me. So I've come up with an idea. What you can buy are trolleys for your pot plants, or outside plants as well as indoor plants. The problem being, this wasn't the size that I really wanted. The size that I wanted would have taken the base of this pot, but they didn't have them, even though that they did indicate that they were in stock online. So I got this. Now this is not indicated how heavy it will rate. It does say these are heavy duty, so I'm hoping that they are. They do have brakes on, by the way, so how well they work, we'll see. The other ones, you just dropped the pot directly into a strong wire metal cage thing. This one will sit on top, and in some ways this has a wee bit of an advantage because Excuse me for reaching down, if I can get it. Oh, now I've got it stuck. Hold the phone. Retrieved. The metal one, you couldn't actually put a saucer in like this, a plant saucer. But the flat one, I will be able to put this in the saucer. So it might work. So I've only bought one to see. If it doesn't work, then I can get the other ones online. So I'm only doing the one today. Now, the other advantage about that is it's about half the cost of the metal one. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it should mean I should be able to just wheel them around quite easily to where I want them on the deck. So let's go. Right, I've set myself up. I've got a bucket that is it 9 litres bucket. I've got my bark, I've got my soil / compost 50-50 mix, and I've got my peat. So my blueberry that was in the pot from last year is over there. I'm going to do that first, see how it holds up on that thing, and then if it's okay, we'll go from there. So because I'm going to pot up that into a bigger pot, I'm just going to do 30 of the 50 litres that we need. So I'll do that now, and I'll come back to you once I've mixed it up and we can have a look at what it looks like. Okay, so I have got a third peat, a third pine bark mulch, and a third base soil / a wee bit of 50-50 compost in that last thing. It looks okay. Bark's probably a bit bigger than what I wanted, but you get what you get basically. Yeah, so I'm going to load the pot up and then replant my blueberry and see how we go. So watch the space. Now with pruning blueberries, because I'm going to prune this before I put it in the pot because I've got it at the right height now, you don't actually have to do that much. It's basically the 3 Ds. Dead, dying and diseased, because you want it to actually bush up. But if you've got a big blueberry and it's really dense, you may just want to lighten the growth so it gets a bit of air around and reduce any potential for diseases. So I've got, this is the one that I dug out last year, and it has improved in health, albeit still looking pretty ratty, but it is better. It doesn't need a hell of a lot. There's a few dead bits and pieces on it. I'm just going to take them off and then we'll look at planting it. Okay, so it's pruned. I've got some mix to put in around it. I'm in 2 minds of whether to put the mix in around and then try and pot it out. But then it's sitting in the soil that isn't that good for it, so I might just see how I go by tipping it out. Just noticed that the pot itself is actually broken, the old one, not the new one. So yeah, it's got a couple of significant splits in it. So I'll give it a good squeeze and see how we go. Lou's just arrived to supervise. Hello, Lulu. Right, so let's see how we go. Okay, that didn't exactly go to plan. So I was going to record popping it in, but then I tried to get it out and I couldn't get it out. So then I went and got a family member to come and help me, and of course they don't like being on camera, which is fair enough, it's my vlog, not theirs. And we went to tip it out and it came rushing out and it just went thump into the pot. So that's fine. So I have started, it didn't seem to damage the plant, but it was a bit of a comedy of errors. So I've started popping the soil around the edges of it, and I've just teased off some of the old soil, and I'm just slowly popping the new stuff around. Oops, there goes the boys. They're in a bit of a feisty mood, those two, today. I'm not sure what it is, but they've been playing chasey half the afternoon. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get this finished and then we'll see how it looks. Okay, so hopefully Blueberry Rescue Part 1, Part 2 and 3 will come once I get another trolley thing for the pots. This one's making a few funny noises, so hopefully it's okay. I mean, it's not like it's full of wet soil. It's got peat and it's got loads of bark and things like that, which are a lot lighter. So yeah, we can only hope that I haven't buggered it and broken it. But anyway, let's see how the blueberry responds to its new home, and I'll give this a water in a wee bit, and the soil around the actual blueberry itself, the old soil, was wet, but the new stuff is quite dry, so I'll give it a wee drink, and hopefully it likes its new home. And yeah, so next will be a coffee and a chat. Right, it's time for a cuppa and a chat. I've got my cuppa. It's a bit cold, but it's all right, and I think it's got a few bits of bark in it as well. So what did we get up to this week? Well, just a couple of things, but they were both quite important. Last weekend we did the pruning of the black and red currants and got them sorted, and they're looking quite good, so pretty pleased with those. This afternoon, of course, we've potted up the first of the blueberries in Operation Blueberry Rescue, or Rescue Blueberries. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that's turned out. I think those wooden flat carts should be okay. It's nice and stable. I was just a bit concerned it might tip. And it's rolled easy enough from where I was using it to where I've got it sitting at the moment. So yeah, I may go with that. They're half the price, so, and they do hold the saucer, which is a bonus, whereas I don't think the other ones would. I did look at ones that were a bit smaller in the shop on Tuesday when I was there, and yeah, while they look great, they look nice, just don't think they'd hold the saucer. And with blueberries wanting to have a reasonably moist soil and a damp soil, having the saucer there to retain moisture, just to help aid it, is, great. So yeah, I think I'll probably order a couple more of those, or if I go into town in the next week or so, I'll grab a couple more and pot up the other two blueberries. So what am I planning for next week? Well, as I said, got a few chores to do, so I've got the other two blueberries to do. I've actually got some roses that need planting. I bought I bought 4 roses on Tuesday when I was in town. One of them is a replacement for a rose out the front, which I won't chuck the rose out the front out. I'll pot it up in a pot and see if I can encourage it to become better. There's one to replace the Charlotte rose, and I'm not going to chuck that either. I'm going to take the old one out, pot it up, prune it right back and see if I can get it to grow again. The other one is my dad, which I wanted to plant for my dad, who taught me about gardening and things like that. I just thought that would be a nice remembrance. And the other one is, now let me give it, I think it's called Love You Mum, and it's a gift for my husband, who lost his mum, who passed away a year ago today. So I'm going to give that to him tomorrow, and we'll plant that up as a family. So in addition, we'll be doing the gooseberries, hopefully. That's my plan. And I'm not quite sure what else I've got on the thing. I've got a few more things lined up, but yeah, so gooseberries, roses, and the rest of the blueberries to start with, but probably something else as well. I'd just like to thank everyone for subscribing today. As I've said many times, it's awesome seeing people subscribe and following me along in my journey in my garden. If you want to catch up with what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, I also have a Facebook page. So it's also known as the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. So if you want to go along and visit that, and if you'd like to follow that. But as I said, if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel too, it's all good. Right, I'm going to leave it there for now. I've got to go and make tea. So yeah, using some of the veggies from the garden, so that's always good. So until next week's vlog, it's bye from me.